2025 meeting of special, meeting and work session of the East Cleveland Board of Education is now called to order. Would you please stand with me for the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will you call the roll?
Dr. Rice,
Present.
Mr. M.R. Walls,
Present.
Mr. Robinson, Ms. Fountain,
Present.
Ms. Sanders.
Present.
And you know that Mr. Robinson called on. So we have 4 members here, we have 4. The next thing on our agenda is approval of the board agenda. And since we only have 2 items on the board agenda for today, special meeting and work session.
Madam President, I move that we accept the board agenda for today.
It is properly moved
Who second, please?
and second
Thank you.
that we approve the board agenda. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Call for vote.
Online is open. Dr. Rice,
Yes,
all votes are in.
okay. Since there's no executive session, we're going to, we have something from, board members, what's your pleasure? We have one thing from the Welfare and Public Relations to discuss or to go into our zone leader, meeting. So we'll just take, well, we already said we'll accept the agenda, so we'll just go by the agenda itself. So I'll turn it over to Dr. Pettigrew for zone leader update.
All right, thank you, Madam President. Board members, today I bring to you, time to go to the next slide, the zone leaders. This came up at convocation, so they're coming now to give a little bit more information to you, and more importantly, answer your questions. This is the cabinet. These are the folks that are leading the charge in these different areas. We'll make sure Tom is going to share this out to you, so you have a copy of this slide deck as well to look at later. But these are the folks that are going to come today and talk to us about how we got the district ready, what things did we do, and kind of where we are today. And then they're eager to answer some of your questions. So each one of them, when they talk, they'll tell you what zone they represent, what that means, and then give you a little update about how we lifted off this school. So with that, next slide, Tom. Who's first? Paula?
All right, so the title of my presentation is the 90-day staff plan with operational expectations. And my zone is actually the talent zone. Okay, so I'm the talent engine of this flight. So I deal with people and culture. My mascot is Aunt Red. My flight attendants are Sylvia Cunningham, my executive secretary, and Shaniqua Bed, the human resources generalist. The purpose is to build, develop, and retain high-quality, mission-aligned educators and leaders. And at the heart of this flight is learning. Every other zone exists to lift that work. So there I am, Aunt Red. That's what our department, the mascot is, Aunt Red. So the value set is the work you'll get, hire for the mission, and grow for mastery. The zone overview. The talent engine fuels the people. Side of the mission, it recruits, develops, retains the professionals who bring the instructional vision of learning to the core. So a lot of that work that we've been doing basically started last February, that's January, February with the hiring. And so that's a lot of the work that we do to make sure that we have high quality instructors that actually stand in front of our students and give instruction. From the first interview to the final evaluation, this zone ensures that people we place in classrooms and leadership positions are ready to work for our students. No strong instruction without strong people. My deliverables for school year 2025 is the East Cleveland City School District branded onboarding and reboarding system. We realized that through some of the things that we find in classrooms and that are occurring, we do have to onboard before we bring people when we bring people into the district, but we also realize we need to reboard the people that are already in the district. So as you look, the target date for that is full launch by the end of the first semester. The East Cleveland City School District Talent Playbook, and that's kind of like the Human Resources Handbook. That should be completed sometime by the middle of October. We started on it towards the end of last year. The teacher retention dashboard, I've actually already started looking at that from those teachers that have been here for years. And then I'm tracking the new teachers that are here. Will they stay here? Will they, how many years will they stay? So I'm basically tracking how long they stay in the district. And if they leave, what would be the reasons why they're leaving? The principal succession framework. So as we look at our staff, we're looking to see if there's leaders, just in case some of our administrators leave, who can we put in that place? And then the wellness and recognition toolkit. So over the years, we've done employee recognition towards the end of the year, but we're trying to develop something where teachers get things in buildings monthly to recognize the hard work that they put into this district. Staffing and onboarding. So if you take a look at this document, the pre-hire process, there's job description, selection rules, so that when we interview the hire teachers, day 1 through 30 is orientation, the resident educator assignment. So they have been assigned, they're actually mentors or resident educators for those new teachers and new staff to the district. The days 31 through 90, there'll be role-specific professional development, which we've already had one, and we'll be having another one on September the 12th. Peer observation and feedback surveys they'll be established. Deliver a culturally responsive, brand faithful onboarding experience that connects to East Cleveland City School District's instructional expectations. So that's a lot of what they actually really get in their professional developments. And orient new employees to the flight path structure and the core mascots. So at this time, our teacher needs are, we need two peer professionals at Prospect Academy. Caledonia Mayfair is fully staffed at this time. Superior School for the Performing Arts, due to the point in fact we've had this influx of enrollment for the Superior School for the Performing Arts. I'm looking for a fourth and a fifth and a sixth grade teacher. For a fourth and a sixth grade teacher. Their classes are at 32. So they're over. And so Kirk Middle School, we had an intervention specialist, but he resigned. So we're actually looking for another intervention specialist for Kirk. And then Shaw High School, that film class has exceeded capacity. So we need another instructor for an additional class. That's what we've been talking about and looking at. And then we need intervention specialists for Shaw. So I just put this here for the 3 ways to retain employees. We need to grow them, we need to lead them, and we also need to care about them so that they'll stay in our district and work for our students. Human resources. When we recruit with purpose, develop with care, and lead with our heart, we don't just shape careers, we shape futures. All right. Do you have any questions?
I got one. What is our enrollment this year?
Tom's gonna be bringing you that.
Okay.
Tom will be bringing you that during his session.
I'm a little early.
Yes, you were. You were prepared.
Yes.
One question.
Yes.
what, do you have any idea what would be the reason, like the last meeting we had, there was an influx of resignations? Do you guys know the answer to why? I know you said you're gonna start asking why people are resigning from here. Do you currently know the status of why we had such an influx of resignations?
I don't think we had a real influx, but we did have some people that resigned. And some people resigned because they relocated. Some people resigned because they went to other districts.
So do we have a plan in place to keep people from going to other districts? Is it money? Is it
Some of it
in-house?
honestly could be money. Some of it is, like those people that's relocated, wasn't much that I can say or do about that. But, that's why we're trying to work on the way we recognize and appreciate our staff. So that's one place where we're starting. Also, we're also starting where we recruit different people, different teachers or this, that, and the other that's interested in leadership. They can attend some of that first ring collaborative that we have, which is a part of it that helps develop teacher leaders. Oh, and some of it I forgot was retirement. So we had a lot of people, we had a number of people retire. Any other questions?
Yeah, wait.
Okay.
So is there a way, if we know there's upcoming retirements coming up, is there a way to start a process maybe a year prior to knowing some of these teachers are retiring, to start trying to fill the space so it's not like a gap?
Yes, so there's some teachers that wait till the last minute to retire, just being honest. But this year, we've talked to some of our staff. I got a retirement letter this Friday. I just got told today I'll be getting 2 more this Friday coming up. So now that I think that we're out in well, I'll say I'm out in buildings more. I mean, the rest of us are too. There are people that's talking like, oh, I'm thinking about retiring and this, that, and the other. So if you're thinking about it, then it's on my radar. So, but sometimes you don't get retirements to sometime after March because they don't have to turn it in until March. Okay. Because I got a couple of summer, like right on July 10th, the last day, they could resign.
I'm done.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Connie?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
I'm Consuela Townsend, and I am the Learning Corps. And I printed out my newsletter that I sent to my principals, which kind of is going to summarize everything that I've been working on since August 1st. So you have who the department is comprised of. That's myself, the zone leader, Vanessa Moore, who is the supervisor of pre-K through 5, Annie Anderson, who is the department secretary, and then you have Bethany Britt, who is over federal programs and assistive technology. So the first picture that you see is a picture of one of our leaders, and it's important that we celebrate our staff. That's one thing that we want to make sure that we create a positive culture. I know a lot of times we recognize staff, but do we recognize our leaders? The saying that good people don't leave jobs, they leave bad bosses. And one of the things we want to make sure is that we are always recognizing their efforts. So it's my goal to always make sure that I spotlight our principals. My goals this year, where it has learning together, growing stronger. This is where I communicated our overall goals of the department for this year, and it's to support our leaders. It's to lift the quality of instruction and ensure that we have engaging, high-quality instruction. When we look at the upcoming events, that's things that we are working on. We provided professional development to our staff as they came in during the first 5 days of school. So as you all know, we rolled out a new ELA curriculum, grades K through 5 into reading. We also provided professional development for our grade 6 through 12 teachers in ELA. We also have PD for every math teacher. We all have the same curriculum now, which is Reveal Math. And we also will be having ongoing PD to support, especially our new curriculum this year, the interreading. We also are coaching. We are putting a big emphasis on coaching our leaders this year. We're trying to move our coaches away from being managers and moving into instructional leadership. So the 14th, we have a half a day plan for coaching in partnership with MGT to coach our principals so that they can build instructional leaders in the classroom. When we talk about and tell me if I'm going too fast, because I know this is a lot. When we talk about our district-wide instructional focus, each building is going to have their own instructional focus, and it's important that each building has their own because each building is unique and each building has their own needs. So we are working with the different buildings to build what their instructional focus is. But as a district, we are working on writing. We know that reading and writing go hand in hand. So if you can write, you can read. So that's our focus. And we did put a big push on that last year. And you'll see when we get our scorecard, our state report card, that we did increase in writing. So we're going to continue that push for writing. And then overall, you know, we in addition to the writing, we still are going to put our focus on reading, math, and writing. And of course, we know writing develops critical thinking skills. If we turn over, the instructional to-dos message to the leaders is basically some of the instructional programs that have shown success in our district. And that's to continue to make sure that our teachers are putting our students on Exact Path. Exact Path is a program, it's like a tier 2 intervention. Once the students take the MAP assessment at the beginning of the year, it lets us know where our students are instructionally, and then it meets the needs of those kids where they're at. Where the teachers are delivering instruction that is grade level, Exact Path meets the kids exactly where they're at to help fill in those gaps where they're at. So we are asking that all of our teachers make sure that our students get on Exact Path at least 45 minutes a week. And then we also supported our leaders in ensuring that our students had a great liftoff to the first day of school. As you can see, these are just some of the pictures that we captured to ensure that our kids had a successful first day, and also ensuring that we are including our families and our communities in our open house. And listed here below, you'll see when open house is. So if you want to pop in to some of the open houses, and of course, our schools will have our community partners present as well. And then where you see in-flight support, that is a link, and I can share this all with you all. This is a link where we put in a document where all the leaders are going to put what their successes were for the first part of the year, and that's building best practices. So if I did something outstanding in my building, then so the principal and superior can see that, and so I would see that it was a success, and that's something that she may want to emulate. And also if there were any barriers. So as zone leaders, we cross paths sometimes. So if there are any barriers that the principals had, they're putting that in that document so that I can be a support. For an example, one of our teachers, she has, one of our buildings has an influx of kids that she didn't think she was going to have, so she needs furniture. So then I can communicate that to Mr. Bunkley to say, hey, this principal needs to be outfitted with a classroom full of furniture. So we try to make sure that we prevent any barriers to student success. So that's involved in that link. That's included in that link as well. And then just as an addition, in addition to the newsletter, we all know that we have the film and media class. We have tons of kids who are enrolling. Tom will talk about that a little bit later. We're building the excitement around that program, building momentum. We don't have 20th century students, we have 21st century students. And this film and media class is something that gets our kids excited. Our kids, they live on social media and the movies and all those things. It's not just reading, writing, arithmetic, like 20th century learning. So we're trying to do things to build that momentum and also attract other students to our district. And also, starting this year, previously, we did not have preschool on Fridays. This year, we will be having preschool on Fridays. That is a push to increase enrollment. A lot of parents don't want to enroll in a preschool program because they don't have childcare on Friday. So this is going to be a push to increase enrollment, and also it's a convenience to the parents as well. And then having students in class an additional day will also impact student learning incomes as well. And then finally, on September 4th, we are having the State Superintendent, Colleen Brady, will be in our district. She will be visiting all of our schools, and she's also going to have a panel where she's going to talk with the students to see why we were so successful this year. She'll also be meeting with a group of teachers and also community members and family as well. So we'll be sending that schedule out very soon. We just got to do some things. And that's the Learning Core report. Any questions?
I just have one quick question.
Yes.
Why wasn't there preschool on Fridays? Was there a particular reason?
They were, because there's a lot of paperwork that goes along with preschool. I mean, a lot because of the funding sources.
Mhm.
So that day was used for teachers to be able to complete the paperwork on Friday. So the workaround was, and correct me if I'm wrong, because we need to open on Fridays, there is a grant that she has where she'll be able to pay teachers to complete the paperwork from one of her funding sources.
This may sound like a crazy question, I just don't know, so I'm
Mhm.
asking, do we accept vouchers for this preschool?
No, not yet. Actually, she sent a text last week about the state was, I'm not a big preschool person, but there was something that the state is kind of mandating that we accept vouchers. So she's been working with Ms. Witt on how we're going to accept vouchers.
I only ask because I know some other schools they take
Yes.
vouchers, so that's what matters, so why we weren't involved in that.
It's in the works, it's in the
All
works,
right.
yes.
Answer, Paula, Winston.
Yeah, it's free right now,
For all.
yes.
Huh.
Any more
So,
questions? Yes, ma'am.
Are we still having childcare? At what age? And are we still using the Center for Family and Children?
For preschool?
Yeah.
That's not a question I have the answer to. We don't have childcare, the kids, so the
I
days
don't
from
mean
8.
childcare. I mean, we had last year a preschool program, but we were using the Center for Family and Children. And it was for the younger children, not childcare.
So preschool is ages 3 through 5, and they come in at 8:30 and they leave at 3. We don't have a before care or an after care we don't have child care for them before or after that time.
Okay, then I guess I'm still asking, are we still using the Center for Family and Children?
Yes, yes, we are. Yes, we are. But there are different restrictions that are going on right now. We're trying to work through all of that. We do have the Center for Families and Children still in that program.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't see them approved through the board. That's why I didn't know if we were still using.
That
it.
is a grant, and that would have, the board did approve it when I brought the grants to the board from the 001s through the 599s.
Okay.
Center for Families
I
and
just
Children
didn't
was
see
in 019.
individually.
Yes, it was in 019.
That was all I had.
Thank you.
Courtney?
Good afternoon. So I am going to talk to you guys briefly about the Access Corps. My mascot for this area is Little Red. And Little Red's mantra is, if they can't get in, they can't grow. And access makes learning possible. So Little Red also represents our most youngest and vulnerable children. So basically asking the question, you know, can I learn here? Can we learn here? And if the answer is no, that means that we're not doing something right. So the overview of this zone, the Access Core ensures that the district's instructional vision is not just excellent, but equitable. This zone is responsible for identifying and eliminating the barriers that prevent students from fully experiencing high-quality learning. So this includes supports, services, transitions, and advocacy for that reach across each grade level. So basically, making sure that all of our students, no matter what their needs are, have access to whatever it is that they need. So that can be academic, that can be social emotional, that can be behavioral. So under my core, one of the big pushes is multi-tiered systems of support. That's something that's been in the district for a while. Basically, that's a tiered approach. So making sure that every student has access. So tier 1, it would be what all students would receive. Tier 2 would be students who may not be successful in tier 1, they may need a little extra support. And then tier 3 is our most support. So that in that tier model, PBIS also falls under MTSS. PBIS is positive behaviors, interventions, and supports. So it focuses on the behavior side of whatever the student is, whatever the student needs. So with this push over the past couple of years, we recognized that our administrators really needed to be leading the work. So we had a district-wide MTSS team, board office level, and recognizing that the principals need to really be pushing this work and be out in the front, have their staff see them leading the work. So this year, we had one-on-one sessions with each principal to try and give them additional training and make sure they were up to speed on the whole MTSS process. And then on last Friday before last, and then last Monday, we had professional development in each building where the principals led that PD on MTSS alongside with our state support system, our state support team members. So that was key because that had not been done in the past. In the past, it had always been us bringing someone from the outside into the district to lead this work. So now that the principals are out front leading it, it's more impactful. In addition to that, we had our PBIS support, state support person go into the buildings on the day before the students came, and she went to every single classroom although we had, let me back up, PBIS has been in the district for a while too, but over the past 2 years, we've really done an excellent job with PBIS. We've even submitted for recognitions and received bronze for Mayfair as well as Kirk. So that's huge because we hadn't done that in the past. At the end of last school year, we resubmitted for last year. That probably won't come out until October. So we'll have an idea. So we were pushing for those buildings that got bronze. We're hoping that they get silver or even gold. And then the schools that didn't get bronze, we're hoping that they at least get bronze. The way the state has it set up, you have to start at bronze. You can't automatically go to gold. So we're hoping that they at least get bronze. So with that being said, on the day before the students came, her name is Kara Walter, did the walkthrough. She went to every single classroom in every building and talked with the teachers, gave them some additional handouts. We know that you can go to the next slide, our district-wide PBIS is the cardinal way. So be responsible, be respectful, be safe. You've probably seen the signs in the buildings all over the district. This year, one of the pushes is that we're trying to also get those same signs in the community. So the community can be on board with our PBIS. We did get the signs on our school buses, so that's huge because the bus drivers often are the very first point of contact for the students. So they're talking the language on the bus, They're talking the language in the cafeteria, and throughout the school. And so the idea is that if we embed this PBIS language into everyday teacher-student interactions, as well as administrators working with the teachers, administrators working with the students, if we embed this language, then it's essential for building a consistent, positive school culture. So when administrators model and expect PBIS-aligned communication, it enforces the shared values across the classroom and the grade levels. So this year and every year, we want to make sure that every learner, every day, dignity, access, and excellence in the school. Are there any questions for me?
Hold on. Oh, I did want to ask you about the tiers. So you said tier 3 was where the students need the most
Yeah, so
need.
mhm.
So at tier 1, do they start at tier 3 and then move down to tier 1?
No.
Or do
No,
you
it's
just
the
start
other.
at a tier?
Yeah, tier 1 is everyone, so it's universal. So all students receive tier 1. Now, one of the misconceptions is that if a student needs to move to tier 2, that doesn't mean that he or she doesn't still get what's in tier 1.
Okay.
And then if a student needs to move to tier 3, they're still getting what everybody in tier 1 got, additional supports from tier 2, and then that most intensive support in tier 3.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay.
And tier 3, just so you know, all of this is a Gen Ed initiative. So this does not have anything to do with special education.
Right.
A lot of times people think tier 3, if they need that most support, that they're automatically students with disabilities, and that's not the case. So everything I talked about is universal across the board prior to a student being identified as a student with a disability.
Nothing else.
Any questions? You want to ask something?
I wish you wanted to ask something.
You look like, I thought you had something you wanted to say.
Oh,
Something.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Tom with data.
Sir. Evening, folks.
Evening.
How's everybody feeling?
Great.
Great.
Hopefully we'll feel better after this conversation. So, we're all curriculum. That needs to be distinctly understood, or nothing amazing will happen in this school district. That being said, my role in terms of the data core is about informing things within curriculum, human resources, structure, and even if necessary, even finance, to say this is what our data is showing us that we are doing or where things are going. Ultimately, the biggest bang is through the state report card, and that's the value that you see that's on your screen right now. The performance index points is the comparison that we are going to continue to use in the language that we will use over the next 5 years that this plan is in place. It is a weighted ratio of how students perform on your spring assessments, starting in 3rd grade and going in through high school. The graphic that you see there indicates with our blue, the number of students the percentage of students who earn limited scores, followed by basic, proficient, accelerated, advanced. We're interested in the number on the very bottom, 57.6. This is what is coming back to us through the secure data center right now. Paula, can you pick to the next one? Thank you. And this is where we show over the last 3 years. This is why Director Colleen Grady is so interested in what it is that we're doing. This is the money. This is it. This is all of our work manifests down into an absolute single number. What was it? We're in 25, 26, so 24, 25, 23. 22, 23, we earned 45.2 points. Then we moved ahead to 50.1 points. That was the big gainer at that point. And this year we're showing to be able to be at 57.6 points. I think we're still going to be at the top or very close to the top in terms of positive changes in performance index. Where did that number come from? I would ask you to look at the table on the far right-hand side. It shows a decrease of 6.4% in untested students. It was a distinct strategy that we worked on at all grade levels that said we have to get every student tested in the spring. Period, end of sentence. No exceptions, no excuses, it has to happen. And we made great gains there. We also decreased the number of students that were scoring at limited. So the question is, where did those students at limited go to? Some moved to basic, some basic moved to proficient. The essence of this is a 40,000-foot view to say we're going to continue to decrease the number of students who are scoring at the lowest academic thresholds to be able to aim towards students at proficiency. Let's go look at the next slide. So we came up with some very specific strategies by looking at our data, and this is where we push in and across zones. We go to Access and Courtney, and we particularly go with teaching and learning to Consuela and Vanessa. What do we need to do to continue moving forward? Item number one, we have to keep hitting the low-hanging fruit. We need 100% participation in favorable testing conditions. Our students must be ready to test. They need to know what's on the test. They need to be comfortable in the testing environment. That means full bellies. That means good night's sleep the night before. That means that you got up and didn't have an emergency or there wasn't some kind of an issue going on before you even got to school that would prevent you from showing your best self. These tests are a snapshot. They're not fair. They're not amazing. They're not particularly accurate either, but they are what we are measured by along with all 600 other public school districts in the state of Ohio. So we're going to learn how to play this game and play it well. The second thing that we worked on was emphasizing writing. Connie talked about this in her presentation. There's still many gains to be made in writing, and what we saw with 8th grade writing scores on the ELA assessment this past year shows that progress can be made in a very short period of time. Okay. And so we get real strategic about being able to move in some of those writing skills and doing some very basic things like this is writing a sentence, this is sentences to paragraphs, this is paragraphs into essays. And we use formative assessment tools and database systems to be able to record those student responses and then go back and grade them and look at them in TDTs and BLTs. I'm talking fast because I want to hit the high points. What are we getting onto for this school year? We're going to keep doing those things, but we're also looking at a couple focus areas in English and math, because that's mainly where the tests are coming from. With ELA, our students struggle with central idea or theme and providing objective summaries. And our students also struggle when they have to compare or contrast two written works. Doesn't matter if it's fiction or nonfiction, those are their areas of struggle. So when we look at lesson plans, when we see standards that are going by that catch on those areas, that's a little bit more of a marker for us to say, let's see how students are doing. Math, starting at 3rd grade, our students struggle with the ideas around place value, numeracy, and number abstraction. The idea that a number is actually a symbol of 3 means a quantity of 3 things, etc. That lack of foundation skill shows up when we start having students working on fractions in late 3rd grade into 4th and 5th grade, multiplication division problems, and it manifests itself into problems around ratios and proportions. When we see those standards pop up, that's what we're going to look for. That's my job to be able to say, these are coming down the pike, let's see how we're doing, and then where do we need to be able to provide intervention. So I'm feeding the data back to our other team members. Next slide, please. It's also important for us to know what our goals are. In 5 years' time, we want to be a school district that has a performance index in the mid-80s. Our target number is about 82.9. It's going to take us 5 years to get there, and it's going to take similar kinds of growth to what we have seen over the past 2 years. So we've set out incremental goals for each subject area and grade level for them to be able to attain these pieces. We convey these goals then to our teachers and our building administrators and say, look at the kids that you have in these classes and tell me who can move the needle for you. Tell me who's the student that's at limited that can make it to basic, who's at basic that can make it to proficient. So we have tangible goals, we have students where we know their data, it's simply a matter of connecting the dots. The next slide, please. And this will give you your high school goals. I believe that's everything that I have by way of academic goals, but I'm quite certain that you're going to have other questions about data for me. So So I will take those from you now.
So now, well, you had
An enrollment question,
an enrollment
Stephanie?
question earlier.
What's your question, Stephanie?
How many did we have enrolled this year compared to last year? Now we're on the up.
We haven't made up the difference yet. We're at 1127 today. We were at 1156 at this time last year. We made up the difference in, typically what happens every year is you lose 100 to 125 students for high school graduation, and then you've got to bring in the same number of kindergarten students at the bottom or make up that difference along the way. The high school has made up their difference. At this time last year, they were at 380. They're currently sitting at 400. We are lower in our kindergarten and preschool grade levels right now. So we're net down just under 30 kids, down 29 compared year over year.
So where did we get the people for the film? Because you said that they're over enrolled in that, and then the School of the Arts.
So School of the Arts added 8th grade for this year. Superior is sitting at 144 students right now. They've got a very small 8th grade class, but they've got a really big bubble 4th grade and a big bubble 6th grade. That's what Paula had said in her presentation. I need 2 more instructors at this point. We've got teachers that are teaching across multiple grade levels. The interest is there for those students. And you see it in registration when a family comes in and says, I have 2 or 3 students, I don't want to split them up, I want them all at Superior. So if you've got multiple students within a single family, oftentimes Superior becomes an attractive choice because everyone can stay together. Kindergarten and preschool, why those numbers haven't kicked yet, I don't know. Every year, kindergarten has been sliding a little bit, and preschool has been sliding a little bit also. Not so much that it's like super noticeable, but that's where I'm seeing things. We also have, and this is going to sound weird, but we didn't exactly overcome some COVID bubbles either. And that COVID bubble now is about like a 5th grader. And so I've got a 5th grade that only has about 60 students in it because you lost students at that point that never returned, never came back. Your big grades where you always see enrollment are always preschool, kindergarten, and always at the high school. Everything else in the middle kind of sits. You get a plus, you get a minus, but it stays relatively stable, and it continues to stay stable as it goes 1 grade over, 1 grade over, 1 grade over. So I don't have a better explanation for it, but I can tell you, you do have a COVID bubble that's going to follow you along until these kids are in high school.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Today was the first day of kindergarten.
Today was the first day of kindergarten. We were doing KRA testing on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That's a readiness assessment for our kindergarten babies to get a sense about where they're at. Yes, Ms. Howard.
I have a question. You said something about the number of untested students.
Correct.
Can you explain that a little bit in detail?
Sure.
You lost me a little bit. You said
No
you
worries.
don't test some of the students. You lost me. Just let's go back to that.
Sure.
You go back to that slide.
So we'll sit right here. Okay. The numbers in the table on the right are percentages. So it's percentage of students that are sitting at a particular level. Those aren't raw numbers of students. A 3rd grade student has to take an ELA test and a math test in the spring. Same for 4th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade. 5th and 8th grade, they take English, math, and a science assessment. High school, it depends on what courses that they're taking. They have to take an ELA 2, their 2nd year of English Language Arts, an Algebra 1, an American History, an American Government, and a Biology assessment. If you took that class, or if you are enrolled in that grade level, you need to sit for that assessment in the spring. And it doesn't matter whether you are sick, whether you are in the hospital, whether you are incarcerated, wherever it is that you are, you need to be able to take this assessment at this point. And we had 0.5% of our population, which worked out to be about 6 or 7 kids this past year that missed one assessment for us. This was a big problem at the high school previously. They did an outstanding job about tracking down students and getting them to be able to come in and test. It's a constant conversation. The testing windows themselves are 15 school days long. You look at your calendar and you say, we're gonna start here, and then you count forward 3 weeks from there. So it isn't just you missed it on Monday, you're done. You have 3 weeks to be able to make up these misses. And we do everything short of and probably including sending someone to come and pick you up to be able to take this assessment. We can't test them in their home. They gotta test here. But we look to move heaven and earth to get them here. And the state's guidance is very simple. Get your untested value to 0, because those students don't count for anything for you. I can have a student who can come in and just put their name down on a test. I get 0.3 of a point for them. They score it limited. But if you don't show up at all, that's the problem.
I remember we used to give rewards to the school that had all the students come in and take the test. And that was extremely helpful because then everybody received that reward and they were starting to tell the other kids, come on, you gotta come and take this test. And then we did have to go to the homes.
And that's exactly what we did. PBIS helped and leveraging dollars that were available for bouncy houses, pizza parties, game night, father-daughter dance. A lot of times it's a case of, you've got 15 days in your window, we're gonna test on this day 1, and we're not doing anything else for the rest of the day. We are going to find other extracurriculars, we're gonna find other ways for you to tone it down for that day, because we're not gonna get a lot out of you academically at that point. We're close to the end of the year, but get yourself ready for day 2. And it acts as that incentive. The students drive one another. You're exactly right, and the strategy still works.
Question. So how many were enrolled in the Film Academy? Let's start here. How many more increased enrollment did we get from the event?
I don't have enough data to accurately link both of those things together for you. What I
Well,
can
not just the enrollment itself.
Mhm.
For that, because it was the enrollment event,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Do y'all
So-
know anybody that actually signed up?
Yes. So from that Saturday morning through the weekend, we had 15 applicants that processed through. And by that Monday morning, I think we already had 6 or 7 of those completely closed and rolled into student information. So it wasn't just, hey, I'm going to apply because I was here. We had folks that were here that had some birth certificates and proof of residency in the car. And actually, the enrollment event was gangbusters for preschool. We had Sean Holden, our preschool principal, and Brittany, who works with the centers, also to help push part of Child Find for preschool enrollment. They were hustling down everybody. If they saw a kid that looked like they were at preschool age, it was, come here. Where are you going to preschool? You're not in? Come on, sign up. I got a laptop right there for you.
My daughters were questioning, how do they want to go to preschool? That's how aggressive it was. She even went after my kids until she said, well, they're a little too little. But anybody under this height, they were trying to pull into preschool.
The film class right now, to answer your other question, has 16 students in the morning session and 14 students in the afternoon session.
What, 16 in the morning?
Mm-hmm. And 14 in the afternoon, so total 30. Yep.
How is that class size in relation to maybe the other CTE classes?
Better than average. Better than average. So our biggest career tech programs, culinary, I believe, is just sitting under 30. I think chef's got like 14 and 14. Cosmetology traditionally does well. They're at 12 to 14 for their junior and 12 to 14 for their senior. Nursing is also doing well, and so is automotive tech. So that fits just fine with those numbers. Can I answer any other questions?
I'm sick, I want to thank you for putting this on our phones, because I see it much better here than I do like this.
The presentation was shared with you just before the beginning of the meeting, so it's in your easily from email. You have few privileges to hold that.
Thank you, Tom.
You are welcome.
Dennis? What's going on?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon to you.
Everyone, I'm Dennis Bunkley. I'm the Director of Systematic Integration and Alignment. Myself, working along with Virgil Calloway and Sherman Whaley, we are responsible for operations and infrastructure. The system spine is the foundation under our feet. It ensures that buildings are open, buses are running, supplies are stocked, and school environments are safe. When this zone runs well, it becomes invisible, freeing up attention and energy for teaching and learning. Sometimes it's often not understood that when you walk into your classroom and you turn on the switch, hours of work takes place prior to that to make sure, and some of the things that have happened in the district over the course of the last few weeks in terms of electricity, water being out, heating, cooling, those are things that can interfere or create barriers that we have to figure out ways around to make sure the students are in class and prepared to receive their learning. If systems crack, students feel it. Strong infrastructure lifts instruction. Understanding the impact of having a strong system of operations on addressing the learning core is essential for our process and the procedures that we undertake and that we implement with fidelity. These are, can you switch to the next slide? The next. These are some of the areas that we're looking at to entertain: facilities management, transportation operations. Again, if you can't get to school or if a bus breaks down, that interferes with the day and the ability to learn. Food and nutrition, when I speak of optimizing the environment, if you're hungry, and sometimes you don't always receive that meal at home, but if you're in school and you're hungry, you are in the position to learn or to receive the information that we're attempting to share. Safety and security, compliance issues around being safe and secure, school climate, custodial support, space planning, utilization as we work through the optimization plan, budget procurement, vendor and contract management. Next. This year, we went through the previous list and we identified 5 key focus areas: facilities and school readiness, safety and emergency planning, logistics and transportation, procurement and supply flow, facilities equity, and maintenance. Some of the deliverables from that approach is a building transition tracker, because we have to identify what we have, where we're at, what we're doing with it, and what the process and procedure is necessary to move us forward. Understanding safety and crisis response manual, which will be released in October of this year. I'm sorry, I said understand, updated. Bus route optimization. Over the last few weeks, we've been working on our bus routes to make sure that the transportation to schools is secure and that we have a manageable amount of children on our buses and that the ride is in place and intact. Procurement and supply flow dashboard. Sometimes you have to know what it is that you have in order to make decisions and how to actually disseminate it appropriately. Facilities, conditions, and equity audit. With that last statement, inventory is key. Inventory is not always goods or services. Sometimes it could be just an inventory of what things you're working with what you have in place and how is it being implemented. Just because it's there, it does not mean that it's being implemented effectively or correctly. Knowing where you reside in the system, having an understanding of the zones and how they interrelate. As Consuela had shared earlier, sometimes there are barriers, but if you're working on that barrier in isolation, sometimes you have to be able to call another zone leader to have an understanding of what things we can put in place and a meeting of minds in terms of how to secure the proper implementation. Being aware of how the pieces connect and interact. That's one of the things that we're focusing on in terms of our own understanding of self and our own understanding of how to set the proper flight path. Okay. With that, again, my area is invisible. If you don't hear it and you don't see it, you may not be aware of it, but it's working. All right, any questions?
Very clear.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dennis. And though she's our treasurer, she said, you're not gonna leave me out of no zone. So our treasurer has a zone also, the fiscal zone. Diana.
Okay, good afternoon. My zone, or our zone, is the fiscal core. So if we would just look at the flight attendants that are on this flight, Denise Longino is our accounts payable supervisor, Cheryl Plater, the accounts payable clerk, Leticia Williams, the executive secretary, Valerie Hunter is the payroll supervisor, Renea Hills, the payroll clerk, Lasheen Farley, grants coordinator, and Janisha Kane is our employee and student resource coordinator. If we would go to the next slide, please. What's important here, I want to first start with, and I wanted to put, even though the name is Uncle Red, I wanted to put Uncle Henry. But I'm gonna leave it the way it says. If we want our flight path to last, it must be built on a solid financial foundation. That's your fiscal core. The fiscal core is where integrity meets investment. This zone ensures that every dollar spent in East Cleveland City Schools is aligned to student learning, community trust, and long-term sustainability. It is not just managing the books. It's about protecting the mission. Our deliverables, next screen, our deliverables for this school year, the flight is aligned for the budgets for the school year 25. The aligned annual budgets with flight plan and learning, what that is for us is the board will see that flight plan and that budget because the board has to approve that budget in September. I am currently meeting with principals, administrators, looking at what those budgets are looking like for each of those buildings and each of those departments. We are making certain that those buildings have what they need for the journey for this school year. A multi-year forecast with risk scenarios, that's completed by November of 2025. That's the 5-year forecast. I come to you in November and I say, okay, this is the budgets, this is where we lifted off. Here's where we are. Are there any concerns about that? Are there any scenario plans for enrollment, facilities, and funding shifts? Right here is where we're looking at scenario 5, which the board has approved and the team is working on to make that transition based on what's inside of scenario 5. That's another one of our deliverables for this school year. The next slide, please. Financial literacy toolkit for leaders. Equip principals and central office staff and clerical support staff with financial literacy tools. And this says piloted by December 2025. We actually started it in August. We had our first professional development session with our clerical support staff to make sure that they understand what the lift-offs look like, what the expectations are for the staff. We have monthly professional development meetings where we continue to support, advise, enhance, stabilize, look at what we're doing from building to building. As I said, meeting monthly with principals and directors to ensure that we are within our budgets or what the needs are so that we make certain that everyone is equipped for the work that they're doing. Our quarterly community budget dashboards, the first release of that will be at those community meetings that I'm certain that Dr. Pettigrew is planning for in November. And then our resource equity analysis by school and zone is monitoring the funding applications by schools, student need, and program access. How are we doing that? By those monthly meetings that I'm having with the principals and the directors. They're letting us know what those needs are. We're looking at that budget to ensure that we can accommodate those requests. And also we're looking at, is that working for us? Because we're not just spending money, we want to look at those outcomes to make sure that that is money that's well spent. And we partner with zones to close resource gaps. One of the biggest ones as we look at our grants, I brought those to the board already. The grants are supporting all of those things that Connie has talked about, that each of the zone leaders have talked about. That's what all of this funding supports. So where are we today? Next slide. I brought to the board and told the board in June about the USAS manual and how everything has changed for the uniform school accounting systems. That's that professional development that we're pouring into our staff because we want to make certain that all of that information is accurate and correct so that when ODE analyzes our information, they see that our funding and our dollars are student-centered because that's where our money is spent, in that classroom. Most of our money is spent in the classroom and with the students. So we have to provide that professional development for clerical support staff and for our administrative staff. As I stated, I meet with the zone leaders and building administrators for the budget for this year, and in March, we'll start talking about the budget for the next school year as we start transitioning to scenario 5. We currently are providing the bi-weekly payroll and benefits, and in September this year, we will be having a benefits fair for our staff, and we're having those vendors come in to explain our benefits, voluntary products, and all of those things that we are offering for our staff this year. So this is just an introduction to what's happening with the fiscal core right now this year. Very important for us that the fiscal core is where integrity meets investment, and the investment is in our children. Do you have any questions?
Questions today? Okay, so you said you're gonna meet monthly with the principals and you guys started in August?
We did.
Okay, so y'all had 1 or 2 meetings or just one?
We will meet at least once a month. If there's something that's going on with that school or with that department, well, they need to meet more than that, certainly, we meet. But we're set up now that we must meet, once a month to review that budget, to make sure that everything is aligned correctly, and to make sure they have all the resources they need in their buildings and in their departments.
And another question, does this include the schools that are being closed?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Those schools are educating students this year, so they need the same level of support as any of the other buildings that are remaining open. That's it?
That's it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, zone leaders. Wanted to give the board an idea of what we've been working on and give you an opportunity to ask questions, specific questions for those who are in these areas. They're throwing around the term zone leadership, and you see some synergy there. I see how they're working together towards some of these purposes. And I will send you, there's a document that I've been using with them called the flight manual. We have a manual in the way that the zone leaders operate and the way they coordinate and where the deliverables. So there's a lot of information that we do before it even gets out to the schools, making sure that we're aligned. And my role is really going in and out of these zones, making sure that if there's cross-zone collaboration, I'm forcing those issues. Oh, Diana, that sounds like we need to bring Courtney in, because sometimes we don't inherently do that. We just plow away at the problem, and you need to make sure that we're always working together. So we've been breaking up a siloed kind of a belief system here. And I'm hearing it. So zone leaders, thank you, because to me, it was cohesive. And with that, I'm gonna turn it back over to Madam President. Those are our comments on the agenda for the zone leader updates for 25-26.
I certainly want to thank each one of the zone leaders for the information. I learned a lot, and a lot of questions that I had have been answered. I still have a couple of things that are running around in my head, but I want to see how it plays out. So thank you very much, and I appreciate the data, definitely. That was probably more informative than it was good. It was a good presentation. And thank you, Mr. Bunkley. That was interesting to see how all of that played together. And the three ladies, great job. Thank you very much for the information. And I'm sure that we'll have more questions about how that will play out as we continue on for this school year, especially as we get to the testing area. So thank you. Anyone else have any general questions?
Yes, can we just have maybe another review of how your zones are doing, maybe in January, like a follow-up?
Can I give you one? Can we do it quarterly? Because my plan is to bring them to you quarterly so they can present this information.
I just want to update on everything we discussed today and how it's working. Is it working? What's working? What's not working? Where we can make some changes to get these scores up. And if it's not working, can we eliminate it and focus on something else that may help the students or something? I don't know. Just an update on everything that was said today. Because I actually did like the presentation. I appreciate it. It was very helpful.
Definitely more information than we've had, and I certainly appreciated the follow through and to see how each one of you collaborate. Anyone else?
Energy is much different. Much different. Thank you.
Anyone else?
It amazes me, first off, in all the years I've been here, this seems like the smallest of all the groups, and your work seems so intense. I definitely want to see a coordinated group, because the work that you guys have put on, each one of you is just enormous, so I'm looking forward to what you're going to do and what is going to take place in the next couple of years. And why is it so intense this year, Dr. Pettigrew, than it's been in the past years?
Because it has to be. Because now we're trying to get to that 82.9 by 2030. We're in a new strategic plan. So the revitalization plan was to help us get out of academic distress. And we're sitting there trying to deal with that. But this new plan was about going up much higher than we've ever been. So you're gonna feel an intensity. But what I will also say, when you go to the buildings, you'll feel a little bit of, there's this buzz, there's this electric feeling of excitement too. But that's coming, through the zone leaders as we're dealing with these issues, dealing with what comes up. We understand now we have to do much more than we've ever done if we're going to achieve these numbers. And when you look at the numbers, Tom gave you 57.6. Last year, when I came to you, we had a conversation, we were at 50.1. At the time, Garfield and Cleveland were around the 56. So right now, we're higher than those two districts last year. So there's no more conversation about being at the bottom. And we need to stop acting like we're at the bottom, because the data says there are several school districts that are below us now as we keep climbing. And when we get to that 82.9 by 2030, we'll be at the top of the first ring districts, and most likely the top of all these mid-sized urbans that are all just like us. We're shooting straight to the top. And it's because of the flight plan, and it's because of the zone leaders understanding their work. I think we're going to absolutely do it.
Thank you. Good job.
And it's the board. The board asked for higher scores. We got to try to figure out these issues, and that requires more work. So that's what you're hearing.
Okay. Any additional questions that we have for the core leaders? Hearing none? Okay, we'll move on to the last thing on our agenda for today.
That is me.
There are two items. Is that safe route still on there? That's all?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all. So just one item.
Because we can't discuss it, it's
Right.
not on here, right?
Right, correct.
Okay,
It's my show. Okay. I'm Mary Sanders, Chair for Welfare and Public Relations. And Madam President, a motion for you to accept the resolution to engage the Ohio School Boards Association for policy management services.
and the motion has been made,
I second.
motion has been seconded. Questions or comments? I do. When the last time we discussed this, I thought that we were gonna be looking into, the amount of money that we would save. So do we have that information from going from we discussed this a couple different times. And, do we know what type of savings we're gonna realize? What's the difference in the prices? You know, that's what came to my mind.
So at the a few work sessions ago, we did bring that information at a work session to the board for discussion. And it just so happens I have that document with me today, where we talked about in committee, and then committee brought it out to the board about the OSBA policy service updates. We also brought you this listing that you all looked at to show what were those expenditures to date from our current policy vendor, to show what those expenditures were. And we also talked to you about the process as it was outlined in if you'll recall, I told us about, it was like a 1-year commitment of 2 board members to sit on this particular committee to look at every board policy. We talked about that so that we could finally get all of our policies collectively up to date and current. And then it would be only a year-to-year review with OSBA. So this we did talk about this. And we actually walked through this document, because I did give copies of this particular document at that meeting as we talked about it.
It would probably be helpful to resubmit that.
We did, I'm sorry, she asked who were the 2 members. You guys didn't select it because you didn't select this. We discussed it.
Right.
We advised that there would be 2 board members that would be assigned to this as along with the treasurer, but you did not state what 2 board members that would be.
Okay,
So
go ahead, finish.
I vote, can we table this till we figure that out? That we're gonna put 2 board members and we didn't, can we do that? Can we table this and then do that and
Yes.
go over? Yes. And make sure it's right?
Okay, and just one other
I
thing.
need to see what.
I want us to do what we are going to say. amount of savings that we'll have from that. That would help.
Yeah, you
I
do,
know.
but I will send it to you again.
Okay,
Yeah,
you
I'll send
said
this
that
to you
the price is what we paid were there, right?
I said the prices, what we paid were there, and the startup costs for OSBA and the services that they're going to provide are also there.
Okay, I think that would help if we can each have that, and we can table it and, until our next meeting. And then-
it will be,
Mhm.
pick two people.
And Matt, and since it's in committee, it sounds it's going back to committee. Is this now something that committee is presenting to the whole board, all of the information, this discovery?
Well, I don't think it's going back to committee
Okay.
because the committee did the research, did all of that, and brought the recommendation to the board.
Right.
Now the board is saying, we want to table it and review this again. I'm thinking that's what you're saying, review it again, and then think about what two board members you want to assign to this if it moves forward. And then at your meeting, your regular meeting, September 8th, Mrs. Sanders will bring this back to the board again.
Okay, make sure that we get I'm sure you will, Ms. Wood, don't even worry about it, that we'll all get a copy of that. We have different board members on now than when we discussed that, so just.
No,
so that-
these are the same board
Okay.
members.
Oh, okay, well, it will be good.
Yeah,
then
it
if
was
we can
probably a
have that.
couple of months ago that this happened.
So if you
The
share that.
date of this was, and just to show how long this has been, the information came from OSBA in January 31st. That's how long this has been that we've been going back and forth. Pardon?
Paula had did the research and the comparisons, so. We mentioned it, but it was never approved or voted.
Correct. And then, so that was then in May. In May, we brought it back again. Because this is dated May 20th, 2025. So now we're bringing it back again in August. So we'll bring it back again, Ms. Sanders will bring it back again in September.
Sounds good.
OSBA prices on there.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, everything here is included here. It's all here.
What OSBA, okay. I don't recall the sheet. And usually I'm pretty good with,
It did
I know,
happen.
usually I am. So I'm sure that it did, Ms. Wood. No one is saying that it did not happen,
Mhm.
by no means whatsoever. All I'm saying is just, I need to review it again.
Absolutely. So
To be
I
able
will,
to
I will
vote
send
on it.
this out to everyone again tomorrow.
Thank
You'll
you,
see it
that will
tomorrow.
help matters.
So we do have a motion on the floor though.
The
That we
motion
need to
to
address.
table, so let's, that motion has been presented. Let's,
That
Call for the
motion
vote.
has been what, please?
it was tabled, was by, Ms. Fountain. And, second was.
No, no,
you.
ma'am.
Am I correct?
No, there was a motion to accept the resolution. And it was seconded by Ms. Stepmy Walls. You have a discussion on the table that you're saying, on the floor now that you're saying you want to table it.
I thought she put it in the form of a motion, or no, she did
Okay,
not.
well, I'll motion to table this, OSBA resolution to engage the Ohio School Boards Association for Policy Management Services.
Thank you, it's been properly moved.
I'm sorry. What you're saying is you want to.
She's making an alternative motion, right?
Okay,
Secondary motion, so once that motion is either, accepted or not second, and let it go down to, defeat.
would you please repeat your motion?
Okay, I motion that we table this resolution to engage the Ohio School Boards Association, OSBA, for policy management services.
Call for a second.
I second.
It's been properly moved and second. Call for the vote.
Ms. Fountain,
Yes.
Ms. Stepmy Walls,
Yes.
Ms. Sanders,
Yes.
and Dr. Rice.
Yes. Motion passes.
Madam President, that concludes the resolutions for welfare.
Thank you very much. Are there any other business to come before, this board tonight? I have a couple things. A lot of my questions were answered, how about that? Oh, I do want to share with the board that, the East Cleveland Concerned Pastors, as well as the, Case Western Reserve, will have our scholars to present research. This is scholarly research from Shaw students on wellness and community health. And that will be the second Thursday in September. And it's going to be held at the church right up there on I forgot the name of it right now. Yeah, something like.
Starlight?
No, not Starlight, that's Reverend Small's church. Anyway, this is I have been for the past 2 years, I've never seen anything so magnificent. And it is absolutely phenomenal. For those who may be interested, okay. I wish I could come up with the name of the church, but if you're interested, please let me know. Oh, New Cathedral, a New Life Cathedral, 16200 Euclid. It is exceptional, and they're Shaw students that are doing the presentation. Absolutely phenomenal. And it used to be just Shaw students, but because they had other positions open, they've opened it up to Ginn Academy now. So then Ginn Academy has some scholars. These are kids that are talking about cancer cells from, and if I can't think of the woman, she's the African-American female, she's been dead now for years and they're still using. These kids had a chance to see and work with some of those cells last year. It is awesome.
Henrietta.
Henrietta, that's it. That's absolutely right. So you might want to. That's going to be the second Thursday in September, 6 o'clock, New Life Cathedral. I do want to ask for the committee meetings, for each of the committee meetings. I'm not sure. The notices come from different places. I just want to make sure that for our committee meetings that that everyone who is on the committee gets a committee notice. If you're, and it's usually 2 people per committee, so that those 2 individuals would be noted, and that both parties are also noted when a meeting is canceled for the committee, for those that are members of the committee. Okay. Oh, and lastly, I remember for Dr. Buckner's position, that was Ms. West who took care of him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that Ms. West is just retired, who is taking care of those responsibilities?
That sounds like a question for the zone leader updates on our agenda. So I'm gonna ask Connie, you wanna talk a little bit about CTE? Who's running CTE?
Mr. Ellis. And actually, I have a meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning to meet with Mr. Ellis to ensure that we have a successful CTE program.
Okay, so that there's no one, that position has not been filled, is it going to be? I'm just curious now that, because remember, I'm both tech myself, and so I'm always curious about that department.
I can give you more follow through tomorrow if I meet with him.
Sounds good, thank you. That's all the things that I had. I'm going to ask each one of the board members for their final comments for this evening. Usually, well, okay, I can have it for expressions of the community, doesn't matter. I've done it both ways. Fine. Okay. Well, if you want to wait until Madam Vice President has suggested we get some comments from the community, then the board have their final.
I don't-
Special meeting work session.
Okay,
Yeah, man. I didn't do it.
all right. On a special meeting, there's no comments for the community. Um, you wanna be first for the, board members' comments? Yes?
Yes, I wanna know why wasn't the board notified of the break-in at Chambers?
Oh,
The board was notified. The Buildings and Grounds, chair was notified, within hours of me finding out. And he relayed information, according to him, he related to the, board president.
and he told me that you would give us an update at today's meeting, because we really didn't know it
We
other
got
than.
zone, so again, zone leaders. Dennis, you wanna get up and have a little conversation about Chambers?
Yes, we had it appeared to be a 25-year-old that went to the back door. There was no window or anything that was left open. He went to the back door and some type of way he jimmied. I can't say that the door was left open because there's a partition between the two doors, and for some reason it moves around. So it also alerted us. So he got in some type of way. He didn't steal anything of value. I think he used the microwave, he made himself a meal, and this was discovered from review of the tapes. He made himself a meal and then he left.
Okay, so nothing was, stolen. And, is the door damaged from the break-in, or was the door damaged to begin with and he was just able to get in?
We believe it came to our attention that the door is damaged. And I'm not sure if it was damaged by the break-in, but because of the movement, you know, with the locks, there's only about 1.5 inches to lock the door. But because of that movement, it made it easier for him to pull the door open.
Oh. And would you say a word as well about police response? We're all interested in that as well,
In terms of police response,
to that break-in.
in district, Sherman was on top of it. He reached out, and the people, they responded within, I would say it was within an hour or two of our awareness, and all parties were notified.
Okay, and did East Cleveland, police respond as well?
Yes.
So there's no question on that. Okay. Thank you, for, of all my notes, I had forgotten to put that in. Ms. Sanders, do you have any comments?
Well, I'm impressed with everyone. I didn't have questions because you all sound confident in your zones and what you were set out to do. I'm very impressed with what is the exact path. That's
Yes.
amazing. That's a big deal. Meeting each student where they are. And I think that's amazing. I love that. And the writing, you know, but everybody seemed to be confident in what they're doing. So good luck.
Ms. Emma Walls?
I have none, but thanks for coming this evening.
Okay, well, my final comments are indeed, thank you very much. I learned a lot and I'm looking forward to, Ms. Witt, you have a comment?
Just a question for the board, please.
Yes,
Pepper and Wagner School Law Update Seminar, that's going to be on September 25th. And I would like to know what board members are planning to attend so that we can get you registered. That is it, that's Thursday, September
so it's gonna be
25th.
at Holiday Inn again?
Yes, it's going to be at the Holiday Inn at 6001 Rockside Road, Independence, Ohio.
Okay.
They also have sent an agenda, and it's from like 8:20 until 3:30, so it's all day.
Okay,
So I'd like to know what board members,
I'll be going.
Yeah,
And always going, that's usually pretty good.
okay. So, Dr.
You
Rice,
said September 25th?
yes, that's a Thursday.
Okay.
So that's a yes for Dr. Rice, a yes for Ms. Stedmeyer Walls, and yes for Ms. Sanders. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other comments from you, Ms. Wood?
Our next meeting
The
for the
next
board is
what's
your
that,
regular
September 8th?
meeting. I'm sorry,
September 8th, regular business meeting.
that is correct, at 5 o'clock.
Okay, and, Dr. Pettigrew, any comments that you have for the board?
Not at all. Everything that I would say has been said.
Okay, sounds
I
good.
feel this is one of the best openings of school that we've ever had, that I've been involved in. From the smallest child to the oldest child, to all the teachers, all the administrators, it's exciting this year. And truly, we're just trying to keep that momentum. So we thank the board for your leadership, your guidance. We thank you for your questions. We thank you for your prodding us to do better. We're trying to rise to the challenge for you.
Okay, if all minds and hearts are clear, then, call for,
We need a
call for the
motion.
vote for, the motion, call for the motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn this motion.
And then who's
One
second,
second, sir,
please?
they're voting, sir.
And who's second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you.
It's been properly moved and second, call for the vote.
And I can call the vote, or if we're still online.
I ain't gonna call for mine, I vote.
Okay. Dr. Rice,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and let's see, okay,
Yes to me.
and yes for Ms. Stepmy Walls and Ms.
Oh,
I
Fountain.
can't get
Yes.
that.
All votes are in.
Our motion passes, meeting adjourned. Ms. Mays, even though the meeting is adjourned, you have a question?